What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here again for some more content for you guys today. And what we're going to be looking at is the player contract situation. We're going to be looking at every player running into 18 months left on their contract. So we've got 4 players on 6 months to go and many more on 18 months left to go. And we're going to have a discussion on each and every player and see if they should be getting contracts. But I think we can kind of just breeze past these 6 months players because I don't think any of none of them are getting contract. Perisic obviously has done his ACL. We won't be seeing him again, and there's rumours of him going to Hajduk Split and everything like that. Hugo Lloris obviously is far down the pecking order. He won't be getting a contract. Eric Dyer, I think we all know what's going on with Eric Dyer. And Brandon Austin, I mean, as a youth goalkeeper still already like 24, 25 years of age.
You never know with that, but how many times, who was it we kept offering? Was it Carter Vickers? We just kept offering a deal every single year. We thought, surely this year we're just going to let it run out. We kept, but then again, we end up getting a fee for him, didn't we? At the end, so it was probably good. But you never know with youth keepers. But he needs them. He just needs it. He needs a loan move. Where's he been? He went to Millwall once, did he?
Brandon Austin. I don't even know where he's been.
Has he been out on loan at all?
He's been like the closest he's got to the first team is like the second goalkeeper on the bench.
Right, but then again, if you look at, I'm not to say he's ever going to be as good as Vicario, but Vicario never became like a number one for a top tip for a team in the first division until a couple of years ago.
He's been on loan at Viborg in Denmark and Orlando City in America.
Okay, so who was I thinking of? We had a keeper on loan at Millwall once. It wasn't him.
No.
Anyway, I envisage probably not gonna, but you never know. Probably not going to sign him on though.
In terms of getting rid of those players and replacing them, who do you think needs to be replaced? I mean, obviously a backup keeper. We've got Fraser Forster, but we need a third choice. Maybe one from the youth, Josh Keeley or something, steps up as the third choice, something like that.
Could get get someone to do the Scott Carson, Rob Green role.
We've got Fraser Forster.
He's a backup. That's not even the Stuart Taylor.
Maybe we need someone. Maybe Fraser Forster takes that role and we sign a better one as a backup.
That would probably be the best situation.
Yeah. Perisic. Do we need a replacement for Perisic?
Yes, probably, because you got to remember he was really being used before his injury. Then Solomon's been injured as well. So I probably would say we need another winger with Perisic is leaving, because I think we already need one on the left probably. So I would say probably do need one. And
Eric Dyer, we need a centre back. That's just obvious. But in terms of the players with 18 months left, let's go there by player. We'll start with Tanguy and Ndombele. Sim, I'll let you take this one away.
Yeah, give him a new deal.
Lifetime contract, right?
Lifetime supply at McDonald's. I'll be interested. Not interested because I'm bored of Ndombele now at this point.
Finally.
No, I'm just bored of the whole thing. I'm bored of the whole saga. It's just boring. He goes to a club. Did you hear what a pundit said about him in Turkey? He said they've got a Galatasaray player who just sits on the bench, eats chocolate, and doesn't play any football. That's what he said about Ndombele. So
I guarantee you, it's going to come round to this summer, and you're going to be like, one last chance.
Again, as I say, he was going to start that pre-season game and then he got injured, so who knows what would have happened if he would have played. But I
can picture it.
I'm done with the whole saga. I would rather just cut ties with it at this point, because he can't even get to the Galatasaray team. He's been a massive waste of talent. He doesn't seem to care at this point. So I don't know what we'll do. I don't know if we'll end up ripping up his contract or not, but he ain't going to be part of the Spurs team, that's for sure.
And if a loan spell to Turkey doesn't work, like, where else can he go? Saudi? Does he even get a Saudi move though?
Probably not. I don't think he gets any sort of money there. I don't know. I don't know what his career lies in store for him for the foreseeable, because I think he's burnt all his bridges at this point, and I don't think anyone's gonna Turkey was one of his last opportunities to just show he's got something about him, show he still at least wants a career, and try and put himself.
Such an integral part of the Napoli Scudetto winning team.
No, but try and put himself in the shop window. Look, whatever you want to say about his time in Napoli, they used him a lot. They used him off the bench a number of times.
That's what I'm saying. He was such an integral part to that title-winning side.
You're saying it sarcastically. I'm saying he came on. They used him a lot. He came off the bench nearly every game, so they didn't not use him. I'm just saying in Turkey was last chance to show like he wants to fight for his career. He put himself in the shop window, and he's gone to Turkey, and he's not even getting a game pretty much. So I think people will be looking at that thinking it's not worth the risk.
All right, so Tanguy is Tanguy. He ain't getting a contract. Hopefully we can get rid of him before the end of that contract. It's massive wages. When you look at it, Perisic, Lloris, Dyer, and Tanguy and Ndombele are probably our 4 biggest earners at the club, bar Heung-min Son.
Yeah. It'll be good to get the wage on the book. Although, what if we say get the wage on the books? Tanguy cancelling Tanguy's contract would involve a payoff, so it doesn't really get the wage off the books.
Yeah,
really.
But having said that, he does only have in the summer he'll have a year left on his contract. So
I'm saying you're not saving any money by paying him off.
No, you're not saving any money, but at least you're getting it off the books. You know what I mean?
But it's the same thing.
But yeah, it is the same thing, but you're still getting it off the book, so it's just clear. You're clear of your mind.
Yeah, I guess it's just exactly
Peace of mind.
Not a problem you have to deal with anymore.
Yeah. So next one is obviously Heung-min Son. I do believe he's got a year extension applied to that contract as well, so it's not a pressing issue. But I imagine we do want to get something sorted with Sonny. Yeah,
there's a lot of talk, isn't there? There's been a lot of talk since the beginning of the season about a new contract for him, especially because he's been given the captaincy. I do believe after Lloris, or even level with Lloris, he's now our highest earner. Probably a level with Ndombele, which is ridiculous. So I do think now he's got given the captaincy a bit more responsibility. He should be getting a new contract, and I would like to see a nice 3-year deal. Really give our trust in him and show that we see him, even though he's wrong side of 30, we still see him as a big part of our immediate future. And so I would like to see Son given a new deal for sure.
I'm looking at the wages in the squad. Ndombele is actually the highest earner at this club at 10.5 million a year. Sonny's on 9.8 million a year, which is actually a disgrace with the efforts that those two put in to this football club.
So that means Son got a new contract 2 years ago and it was still less than Ndombele.
Yeah, he's on 190 weekly salary.
Yeah, it should be more. It should be at least 200. It should be 250.
I imagine for the last 3 years of his next contract will be around that, I reckon, especially when you're getting all these big wage earners off the books.
And he's your captain now.
And he's your captain. He's the talisman. He's the man to go to. So Sonny deserves it if no one else does. So Sonny has to get that contract, albeit he does have a clause in his contract where we can trigger a year extension. Next up is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I think I don't think he gets a contract, to be honest. I think we either sell him in this January or this coming summer.
Yeah, I agree. I think we send him. Although you never know what the future holds in football. There are players who you write off and then all of a sudden they come back into the fold and they become one of your more important players. And Højbjerg, you never know how important he might turn out to be in the future. As of right now, though, just from what I've seen of him in Ange's system so far, he doesn't seem to be really up to it. I don't think he's been horrific or terrible or just like a liability or anything, but he's just not of the required standard. He doesn't think quickly enough. He doesn't make quick enough decisions on the ball. And I think Ange knows that, which is why there was even one game where we had a lot of injuries, yet he still chose Lo Celso and Kulu over him in central midfield, because I think he knows that when push comes to shove, when you really want that ability in midfield, Højbjerg just doesn't quite have it. Not to say he's a bad player. So I do think we're going to look to sell him. We did try to sell him last summer, so it's no surprise. I do think we're going to try and sell him again. If I'm going to predict, I would predict he probably doesn't leave in January, probably stays to the end of the season, and then we let him go in the summer. However, if we do get a really good offer in January, which is probably the last chance to get well, look, I wouldn't say the last chance to get a fee, but probably the best chance to get the best fee would be in January. Then I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a good offer, he will leave, and maybe we'll have someone lined up to replace him. But if I reckon it's more unlikely. It's more likely he'll leave in the summer, probably, I would say.
I agree with that. But having said that, if he is going to leave in January, first of all, we need to get someone in beforehand, and if not, we can't let him go until like the very end of the window, just because of the AFCON. Like, we're just so short on numbers in midfield. He's actually going to be so vital to us in January, isn't he? For those games.
No Basuma, no Sarr. We're going to need him to step up.
And when you're looking at it, he's another one of the top earners at the club on 100 grand a week. So
has he ever got re-signed a contract incoming? No, probably not.
I'm not sure. I don't think so, to be honest.
No, because he signed in 2020. So what are we in 20? Yeah, probably 5-year deal. That makes sense.
I don't remember him ever signing a deal anyway.
Yeah.
So Højbjerg looks like his time at Spurs is probably coming to an end as well. And I like Pierre, model professional, always giving his all for the club. I just feel like the club has moved on in terms of the playing style, and he was a great fit for the previous systems and everything like that. But under Ange Ball, unfortunately, he's just not the right fit. That's just what it comes down to. Next up is Giovanni Lo Celso. Big rumours of him going to Barcelona, or Barcelona very much wanting him. He's on around 70 grand a week, Gio. I can't really see him getting a new contract either, unless from now until the end of the season he absolutely smashes it out. But even so, like as much, however good he is, or how good he can be, you can never rely on him because of those injuries.
And it doesn't help that he's injured again right now. It was injured to hear Laporta said, because of FFP reasons. He said today that because of FFP reasons, we can only look at loans in January. And I wonder if he was referring to someone like Lo Celso, if they're going to go for him on loan. But obviously, he stepped in for a few games and did really well, but then found himself out of the team again for the Forest game. The game for the Newcastle game when he was fit. He was on the bench, but he found himself again out for that game, even though he was fit. And that kind of tells me that even though he did well and he's a good player, and I actually think he can play Ange Ball, is Ange ever going to trust him fully? Is he ever going to be his number one choice? And I just don't know. I highly doubt it. But he's a player who, if there aren't too many options, and he has had a good end to the season, he's been in the team and he is playing well, and if there's not any good fees coming for him in the summer, maybe it would be worth just giving him a couple years extension if he can prove his fitness. But if not, I don't see the point. Might as well just take what you can get, kind of thing.
I highly doubt you can prove his fitness, because I do like Gio in terms of his footballing ability, but it's the injuries that are always going to be the question mark. I mean, they followed him around everywhere he's gone. Every year he's been blighted with these injuries, and can you ever see a situation where he shakes them off? I don't know if I can.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know what is. I know he's constantly been injured for Spurs, but I don't know if it's a recurring injury or whatnot. So if he can stay fit for 6 months, then that would be something. But if not, then I don't see the point.
So most likely he's going to be out the door as well. Joe Rodon having a great season at Leeds in the Championship, which is probably his level, to be honest. Whenever at Spurs, no one's ever seemed to have given him a chance, to be honest. And yeah, I guess we probably try and do a deal with Leeds in the summer.
Probably. It'll be interesting though, because he's built up a bit of value, I'm guessing, because he's getting a lot of praise for his performances in Leeds at the moment. So maybe it's a case of, if we don't get the fee that we want this summer, maybe it's a case of just giving him a year extension and then sending him out on loan again, or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised because we've done that before. As I say, like Cameron Carter-Vickers, we did that for. If we weren't happy with any bids we were getting, we would just extend the contract and send him out on loan again. So I would be interested to see if that was the road, but I reckon if we get a good offer, we sell, of course. Yeah,
the difference is between Joe Rodon and Cameron Carter-Vickers is Carter-Vickers was a youth academy product, trying to make it at the club. I think Joe Rodon pretty much knows by now that he's probably got no future here. And
I think Carter-Vickers knew that. Surely by like the third or the second one, he was
You'd think so, but I mean, as an academy product, when you're looking at players from the academy also making their way into the team after various loan spells, you think at the back of the mind, oh, maybe I could still make it here. Yeah, where as a Joe Rodon, he signed here from Swansea, and ever since signing it, he's never really had a look in. So Joe Rodon's probably looking at it like, why would I sign a contract when my contract's up in 18 months' time, and I'll have my pick of anyone who I want to go. You know what I mean? If they don't sell me.
Yeah. I actually think with Carter-Vickers as well was probably I think there were clauses, weren't they? Extension clauses. I don't know if Rodon has those. So yeah, I think we probably take an offer in the summer, or maybe even in January if they sump up the cash. I wouldn't be surprised. So I think Rodon, I don't think he's going to be here next season. Yeah,
they probably wait to see if they get the promotion or not. If they get the promotion, there'll be that extra money, won't there, for the coming into the Premier League? And if there is that extra money, I do expect them to sign on the dot to make the offer, because he's been one of their standout players this season. So that's Joe Rodon. Alfie Whiteman, very similar to Brandon Austin, 25-year-old goalkeeper. He's had a couple of loan spells out in Sweden for Degerfors, but apart from that, I mean, he's never made an appearance for Spurs. You just imagine he's just going to move on.
Yeah. You would have said that last summer. He has been third choice. Most of the time it's him on the bench, isn't it?
No, it's actually not. It's Brandon Austin.
Is it Brandon?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Brandon Austin on the bench. Yeah.
Well, Alfie Whiteman's actually been injured for a long time, so he's got some.
I think
big
it was
injury.
Whiteman before Austin. Anyway, I don't think he has a future here. Clearly, he never seems to be trusted in any sort of cup games or anything like that. But it's all about if we get an offer, maybe no one's even going to bid. That's probably a most likely scenario is no one bids for him, to be honest, which is sad to think about.
But in terms of the value he has, the wages he's on, it costs us pretty much nothing if we let him go for free this summer.
Yeah, true.
He's the lowest earner in the first team squad. Sergio Reguilon is an interesting one, obviously on loan at Manchester United at the moment. 18 months left in his deal. It is a position in the squad which we kind of need a backup left back at the moment. We've got Ben Davies, who's maybe transitioning more into a centre back at the moment. I'm not sure. But we've got Destiny Udogie, but we're kind of light on left backs.
Definitely. It's a big selection headache. But at the end of the day, we could have kept him, couldn't we, Reguilon? And we didn't. We decided to loan him out. I think there was obviously a foreign quota issue as well, which contributed to it. But I don't think his time at United is. I don't look at it and think, oh, we've really missed out on having him. Hasn't exactly been amazing. I don't think he's been terrible, but hasn't really been amazing. So again, we tried to sell him last summer, couldn't get any meaningful offers in. Maybe in the summer, this summer coming up, that will change with the year left on his deal. Maybe more people willing to take a punt on him for like 10 million or something like that. But I don't see us giving him a new contract, and I don't see Ange wanting to keep him. So I do think we're going to try and our best to sell him. Do we do another loan deal? I find it unlikely, but that happened with Raya. He got a loan deal with 1 year left on his deal and things like that. So maybe there's some sort of deal that can be done there.
If we can't sell him, then we have to loan him, because if Ange doesn't want him in the squad and he's happy to let him go to Manchester United on loan, it's just anything just to get him out of the club, basically.
Yeah, I don't see us giving a new contract for sure.
Ben Davies is an interesting one. I mean, he's 30 years old right now, 31 in April. That means he'll be 32 by the time the contract's up. So what do you do with Ben Davies? Sure, I don't know if we offer him a new deal at 32 years of age.
It really depends. I wouldn't be surprised if we did, because he's actually playing quite well, and he's maybe we see him as a reliable backup for left back and fourth choice centre back or backup left back, and maybe we see him as that. In a perfect world, in my opinion, I think you let him see out the 18 months. I don't think you sell him unless it's like a good fee. I don't think you sell him. You might as well keep him around. But then you let him run down his contract, and what you say, 32, you probably let him leave after over 10 years of service to Spurs, and you give him, and that's it's unbelievable. A player like Ben Davies was being here for 10 years.
Yeah.
But let's say in the next 18 months he plays like he's playing now, and he doesn't seem to be dropping his performance level. It probably is worth just keeping him around, I guess. There's no harm in giving him another year or two extension. But if his performance
Ben Davies till he's 35 years old.
But maybe But look, I think it's important sometimes when a player's been here that long, you show a bit of loyalty if he's still got something to offer. But if his performance is starting to decline, I think in a perfect world for me, I don't give him a contract and I just let him see out. I'm just looking from the club's point of view. Like, would they rather spend money on trying to replace him, or if he's actually still got something to offer, would they just offer him a new deal? Like he's playing like he is now, would they rather go spend like 15, 20, 30 million on trying to replace him, or just give him another 18-month deal or 2-year deal?
Spend money on replacing him, because when you're looking at the squad now, we're already saying regardless if he stays or goes, we need to sign another left back, right? Mm-hmm. So that's Destiny Udogie and another left back at the left back situation. You're looking at the centre back situations. We're already saying that we need 1 or 2 centre backs already. We've got players like Ashley Phillips, Alfie Dorrington, the lad from Croatia coming through.
He's 16.
Yeah, I know he's 16, but the other one's at 18. And he's already saying Dorrington could be getting chances. So I just think it's going to be 1 more year of Ben Davies. I don't think we offer him a new contract at that age. If he was a couple of years younger, I would have said that maybe there's a chance. But at this age, with the players coming through and with the players that we're looking to buy, I just don't see there's room for him past his contract.
I would agree, and I think in a perfect world, I agree. I just think the club might be tempted to give him one more extension if he's still off playing at the same level as he's playing currently. He's doing a really good job. I have to give him credit.
Yeah,
and I think if he's consistently playing at that level whenever he's called upon, I think the club would be tempted to give him another deal. That's all I would say. I think in a perfect world, and even right now, I would say just let him see out the 18 months and then try and upgrade. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and I think that's what will be the situation. Next up, Ryan Sessegnon. I think we all know what we're going to do with Sess. I mean,
I don't know necessarily in a weird way. It depends. It all depends how he comes back from his injury.
We're not doing this again, are we?
No, I'm not. I'm being serious. I think they've obviously done the... they said they've done surgery to make sure he doesn't have reoccurrence of his injuries, all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, we've seen Sessegnon over the past few years. He's constantly injured, never stays fit, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we haven't seen him under Ange. We haven't seen what he can do. We haven't seen how he reacts to when he comes back injured. So I think a lot depends on how the next 6 months go. Or look, I don't know when he's back injured. If he's not back from injury before the end of the season, then I think that you've got to cut your losses. But if he can come back into the team and show something, then there's a conversation to be had. I would say because he's still young. And if he actually shows something at Spurs, Levy will definitely not let that investment go for nothing. I don't think. So I don't see anyone buying him, if you know, right now. So I think a lot depends on these next 6 months for Sessegnon. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that we're not going to offer him a new deal.
But weren't we trying to sell? Wasn't Ange trying to sell him before the injury came?
Yeah, we didn't get any offers. Oh no, sorry, we did get an offer, but then the injury came and it scuppered.
But that's what I'm saying. So if they were trying to sell him before the injury, why won't they try and sell him in January?
I'm not saying they're not going to try and sell him. I'm saying there's not going to be any offers for him right now, in my opinion. And he's still young, and he needs to build his value, and that means making appearances for Spurs. And we have to see what he can do in this Ange system. I personally don't know where his best position would be. Would it be
left wing?
Left wing, probably. I think
he's not logically left back.
Logically, it would be that, but I would have also said logically, Udogie would be better, in that wing back system. And he's really adapted well to it. So you never really know, but I would say logically, it probably would be a left wing. But it's up to him to prove himself. If he can show that he's capable of playing in Ange's system, I don't see a reason. And he can stay injury free. I could see Levy offering him another deal just so he can get some money for him. I think that is a possibility.
I just can't see it.
I think it could happen.
I can't see it at all.
It just depends on him. It depends on whether he gets game time or not.
I can't see him getting game time, and I can't see him proving Ange or Levy wrong. I think Levy's made enough investments on these kind of players, and I think he's ready to cut his losses, to be honest. And I don't think he would have the trust in Sessegnon to give him a new contract for him to up that kind of resale value. I think he's just probably made peace with it, saying, I've lost enough money on this guy, let's just cut our losses and end the relationship.
I think right now that is, I'm just saying, he has to come back from injury, then we have to see, kind of thing. We have to make that assessment again at the end of the season. I don't know when he's come back from injury. Again, but if let's say he's not coming to come back this whole season, and then come the summer, who's going to buy him? So no one's going to buy him.
It'll be another season by the wayside, and then he'll go for free.
But then, so I'm just saying, he'll have to be reintegrated into the squad and given an opportunity if no one's going to buy him, if he's fit, probably.
Yeah, you would think that, but on the other side of that, we're going to need to buy players. We're going to need to buy a left winger or a striker. And if we do that, he falls further down the pecking order, and I don't see him getting any sort of look in.
I just think Ange want to have one look at him just to see what he can do in the system. He's not going to and if he's available, if he's fit and available and in the squad, he'll want to give him some opportunities, and it depends how he takes them. If he's not going to take them, we'll obviously let him go. But if he does, I can see him getting a new contract so maybe we can actually get some money back for him.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. But let's move on to Japhet Tanganga, who's the last on the list. Another one just injuries just follow him around everywhere he goes. He went on loan to Augsburg in the summer, still hasn't had an appearance for them, which is absolutely crazy to think about. He's another one that's maybe fell victim of a manager change, because they were playing 5 at the back. Now they're playing 4 at the back, and they've got so many defenders to play, and he's just so far down the pecking order there at Augsburg. He's not even getting a look in, even if he is fit. And he's probably another one where we are going to sign centre-backs in the summer, most likely, maybe even in January as well. And you're looking at it with the players that we got coming up through the youth, with the players that we have here already, and the players that we're going to sign. Is he ever going to get a look in?
And the problem with that as well is the fact that he's gone on loan essentially to build value to in a view of probably selling him in a year's time, I think. And he hasn't had a game. That's a big problem. So don't know what happens to him in the summer if that situation in Germany continues and he continues not to play. I don't know what happens in the summer when it comes to, trying to get rid of him, because if Augsburg have taken a punt and paid a year's wages or whatever it is for him, and they haven't played him once, is anyone going to look at that and think, I'm also going to take a punt on it when this guy hasn't pretty much played for a year? That's a big problem. So I think he's even less likely to get a contract than Sessegnon, I would say.
Yeah, I'd put them in the same boat, to be honest.
I think Sessegnon's more likely.
Yeah, only because we spent 30 million on him back in 2019. But I mean, that's such a long time ago now. And look, I put them all in the same boat, to be honest. Tanganga, Sessegnon, Joe Rodon, Tanguy and Ndombele.
The reason I don't put Sessegnon, because Sessegnon was actually playing regularly when Conte was here and stuff. He was actually in the team. So I think he showed he can at least contribute a bit. Yeah,
Ndombele was regularly in the team under Jose, and Reguilon was regularly in the team as well in that period.
I'm saying Conte was last season.
Yeah. We all wanted a completely fresh change. I mean, Conte and Ange are completely different kettle of fish and completely different style of play. I mean, just because Sessegnon had a long stretch of games in the team under Conte, I don't think it means anything, to be honest.
No, I'm not saying it means anything to him having a future. I'm just saying the likelihood of getting a contract, if he can prove that he can play in Ange's system, is more, in my opinion.
Fair play. But in terms of looking at all these players, we're saying the majority of them need to go. A few of them are 50-50s, but more or less the only one that's staying on there is Heung-min Son and potentially maybe Ben Davies.
Yeah, and I think there's an outside chance of Lo Celso, I would say. Again, a year, 6 months or a year is a long time in football. I don't know what the situation. Maybe Maddison gets another injury and Lo Celso just comes in and smashes it and plays every game and it's amazing. Who knows? But I would say there's an outside chance of Lo Celso. Other than that, I do find it unlikely. Anyone else apart from maybe Sessegnon, I would say. I think Sessegnon's got an outside chance as well.
So in terms of incomings to combat all these players going out, what do we need? Left winger, left back, centre back,
centre mid,
and centre mid.
A lot.
It is a lot, but when you're looking at it, come the end of that summer in 18 months' time, we're going to have a completely new squad. We're going to have, apart from Heung-min Son, none of the old guard are still going to be here. Everyone's going to be changed.
Even from the Jose era, I'm trying to think of who was in the Jose team. It would have been completely switched up from then.
Which means that the painful rebuild is probably in the latter stages, or will be in the latter stage. Maybe it'll be complete by then.
It's only taken half a decade.
Yeah, it's true. But look, those are the players with 6 to 18 months left on the contract. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you agree about the players that we've said to keep or to not to keep or to give the contract? Let us know in the comment section below. But that is your contract video. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.